All right. As always, we're gonna have to start with our setup. However, if you wanna skip the setup altogether, just head over to the resources of this video, and then you're gonna be able to see the setup folder. Within the setup folder, you're gonna have two options. If you just want to relax and just watch how I do hold the setup, just get the full setup folder. However, please remember you do need to run npm install. Otherwise, you're not gonna have the dependencies, so nothing is gonna work. If you want to do the setup with me, just grab the setup files. And within the setup files, this is where we're going to have the images, we're going to have our logo, the tour data that we're going to be using, and all that. Again, two options. You just need to pick which one would make more sense to you. Then I'm going to head over to the terminal. As always, we're going to zoom in so we can see better. We're going to navigate to the desktop. So I'm going to say desktop. And once we're going to be in desktop, let's do the create React app, and now we're going to be looking for the city tours. That would be our project name. Since, as always, this is going to take a little while, I'm going to resume the video and I'm going to start whenever all our dependencies have been installed. However, before I do that, maybe I can open up right away the browser window, since I will going to be setting this side by side. Awesome, we have our dependencies. However, before we maybe start running the dev server, why don't we do this? Why don't we say that we would first want to navigate to the folder? So cd tours. And once we're going to be in the folder, I would like to install the SASS right away. Command would be npm install, and then we have node SASS, and then we have -- save. That would be the command, and now we're installing the SASS. And the moment we're going to install the SASS, I would also like to show you how we can right away open up the folder in our text editor. We will gonna have to set this up though, meaning I'm gonna be able to do it because I already ran the command. However, first I'm gonna show you how this is gonna work, and then I'm gonna show you where you should look for this in the Visual Studio Code. So the command would be like this. So we just run the code and then dot. However, please remember you do need to be in a folder. Otherwise, you're just gonna open up your whole desktop or wherever you're gonna be sitting in your text editor. The moment we run this, notice now we're opening this up in my text editor. Now I can set them side by side. And you know what? Why don't I right away run the npm install? Because this might take a while. So npm start. And while this is starting up our dev server, I'm going to show you where we should look for this command where we can open up in the browser or from the terminal in the actual text editor. And the command would be you need to press Command and P, and then you're going to have this little search bar. And here we can just have the angle bracket. And then we have the shell command install code command and path. Just click on this guy, and then you're going to be able to open up from the terminal directly in a text editor. Not a big thing, however, very nifty whenever you want to use it. Why don't we right away get all the files that we're going to be looking for? Or in this case, it is important where you place them, because throughout the project, it's not going to make sense if you have them somewhere else. So first and foremost, we're going to have the public. In the public, I would want all my images. So I'm just going to drop this images folder. And that would be for the public one. Then for the source, I would want this logo. So I'm going to grab this logo and get it here. It says right now, well, there is already logo. Yeah, but I don't care. This would be the React logo. We're going to be getting our own logo. As well as we might as well get the tour data. It doesn't really matter where we place it. Again, this would be just a file with all our tours. This could be anything you would like. In my case, I just set it up as an array. And then within the array, we just have all kinds of tour information. You can add more tours if you want. You can add less tours if you want. However, this is important where this is going to be located, meaning that this is going to be pointing to a images folder. That's the reason why it's important to have that images folder right here within the public. But obviously, I'm going to cover this as we're going to start working with this. Okay, so this would be our initial setup. Since we have right now Node SASS installed, why don't we also right away rename these guys? Because now these are not going to be the typical CSS files. In fact, they're going to be the SASS ones. So I'm going to say here, I would like to rename this guy. So index is not going to be CSS, but we're going to add the S here at the start. And the moment we do that, notice what happens. So we're going to have the little icon that's going to say, okay, so this is a SASS file. And now we know that everything is working. However, the problem is that now the application breaks because in this case, we are importing the CSS in the index.js. So we also would need to change it here. So now everything is working. Awesome. Then we're going to do the same thing with an app CSS. So I'm going to say, okay, we would like to rename you. And then this is going to be again Sass. However, in this case, we can also delete everything that we have in the app CSS. I don't care, meaning the Sass file for the app. And you know what? In the app, at the moment, I don't know. There's a bunch of things that actually we don't need and we're not going to be using. So for now, we can get rid of the logo because we're going to be using this in an app bar. And why don't we delete everything here? I'm just going to say something like this, that this is going to be our application. So our current app. Again, nothing really fancy because we were going to set up everything here later on as we have our components. So let me add one more time the S for the app. Otherwise, this is not going to be working. And at the moment, we have at least a working application, meaning that it is not nowhere close where we need to be. However, application didn't break. Okay. So what do we have next? Before I start doing anything within the index Sass file, I would like to get my Google Fonts as well as Font Awesome. And where we're going to do that is going to be in our public folder. However, before we go to the public folder, I would like to head over to Google Fonts, and you can just, as always, Google it, meaning write it in a Google Fonts. And the first link is going to be the actual Google Fonts. And then within the Google Fonts, I'm going to go for Open Sans. So I'm just going to get these fonts. I'm not going to get any custom things. You can obviously download if you want. I'm just going to go with the normal one. And the way I'm going to embed it is just using the link. And this is where we're going to be heading over to our public folder. And then within the public, we're going to be looking for the index. In the index, first of all, we can change it, the name. We can say city tours. So that's going to be something we're going to be using, as well as now we would like our Google fonts. So let me add the comment of Google fonts. And while we're still adding the comments, why don't we do the font awesome? Because that's going to be the next thing that we're going to be using for our icons. So I'm going to say font awesome, something like this. And then we're going to be copying, pasting our Google fonts, as well as we right away can go to font awesome. However, don't close the Google fonts. There's something we're going to need in our Sass file as well. And here within the font awesome, we have right away start using free. And for this, we're going to be looking for our CDN. And for some reason, it's not giving me. Okay, there it is. So if we click on start, then I'm going to copy and paste this line of code. And this is going to be our content delivery network, where once we copy and paste it, this should give us our font awesome. I'm not going to test it. Hopefully everything works fine. If not, then the moment we're going to start working with font awesome, if something doesn't work, we can always swing back and fix that. Now, what I would like to do right now is not care about the Sass. Obviously, this is just the Sass page. If you can find more information. However, within the Google Fonts, we have the option of font family. So why don't we swing back to a index, the main one, the index Sass file, and here we're gonna add our font family for the whole body. So I'm gonna say here first of all app.js, so that's fair enough. Then I can close the app CSS file, as well as, you know what, for now we don't need the app as well. We just need the index, but not the JS, but CSS file. Okay. And then within the index, why don't I delete everything? And we're gonna first set up the body. So I'm gonna say for the whole body, I would like to copy and paste a font family for my sans serif. And that would be awesome. So the open sans is working. And why don't we right away test it out our Sass things? And what's happening with Sass, it just allows you to have multiple features that the CSS, let's say, doesn't have. The features we're going to be using, to tell you honestly, we could have used it with the regular CSS. However, I wanted to show you how you can use the Sass, just in case there's people, obviously, who are using Sass. So this was just a basic setup where you know that, okay, we just need to run node Sass and then rename our files and everything is going to be working. Because the only thing we're going to be using is the variables, because I find it easier to have my colors in the variables. And that way, this is not annoying where I don't have to retype the hex colors. However, for the general styles, I'm going to be selecting everything, and I would like to get rid of all the default styles. So for this, I'm going to say margin is going to be all 0. So margin all around 0. Then we can have some padding all around, also maybe 0, as well as we can have some box sizing. And we're going to set this box sizing to a border box. The reason for this box sizing is very simple. If you're going to be, let's say, adding something to element, some kind of padding, and if you set some kind of width already for this element, the element is going to go bigger. However, with box sizing, the padding is going to be applied to the actual element. How this is going to work, let's say that you're going to have some kind of element, 200 pixels, and if you're going to apply the padding, in fact, the element is going to get bigger. However, with box sizing, the element are going to stay 200 pixels. For example, of course, not all the elements are going to be 200 pixels, but I'm just giving you an example, which is very neat because then this is not going to mess up your layout. And this is pretty typical reset that you usually see as you're working with a browser default styles. And what else we would like to do is setting up these variables. So here I'm going to say like this, that I'm going to be looking for my color. And in my case, I'm going to call this main black, something like this. And now I would like to set this up. So I'm going to say that, yeah, okay, so the color is going to be hashtag 222. And then let's create a few more. So we're going to have 4 total. So let me copy and paste it. So not all of them obviously are going to be main black. We will going to delete them. And we're gonna have different namings. So let's say for the second one, we're gonna say main green. Then for the third one, I would like to have the main white. And for the fourth one is gonna be main gray. That should be my setup. And here we can maybe write with E. Doesn't really matter how you're writing, but I'm just gonna stick with E. And then the main black would be 222. The main green one is gonna be hashtag 8. B, no, sorry, 8, 2, B, and we have 3, 4, 0. That's going to be my green one. For the main white, FFF, and then for the gray one, let's do EC, EC, EC. And just to show you how this is going to be working, why don't we do the body? And let's say here for the background, let's work with the gray one. So in this case, not the bottom, sorry, not the bottom, the background is going to be gray. So let's write that we would like to select, first of all, our variable. Again, we're going to have $sign, and now I'm going to be looking for whatever color I would like. So why don't we go with the gray one? And for the color, let's try the green one. Again, we're just going to be testing it out whether our variables work. And if they work, we're obviously going to reset this to some kind of little bit traditional colors. Well, let's do main green. And the moment we save it, we see that everything's working. So now we have access to the variables, which save us, again, especially recording the screencast, the fact that I have to tell you, okay, again, hashtag 8, 2, B, 3, 4. It just gets really annoying as we're working with many values. So in this case, I can just say, hey, guys, let's just use the main green and we're good to go. However, I obviously would like to change a little bit. I'm going to say that the main color is going to be main white. I know this is going to be boring, but we're just going to be very traditional. And then we're going to say main black for the color. And yeah, sure enough, now we have everything set up. So now we can start working on our first component, which is going to be navbar component. However, before I let you go, again, if you just want to skip all this together, you can just head over to the setup files. You're going to be getting this full setup, as well as if you just don't care and if you want it to work with me, just make sure that you're copying, pasting everything from the setup files correctly in the city towards where we were working.